जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोधनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोधनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोधनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोधनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोधनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astottara Sata Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astottara Sata Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Yamuna Mai Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're continuing the reading from the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 5, entitled The Characteristics of King Puranjana, and we will read text number 29. Nasam Varoro Anyatama Bhuvisprik Purim Imam Viravarena Sakam Arhasi Alankartum Adabra Karmana Lokam Param Shri Iva Yagyapungsa. Nasam Varorva Anyatama Bhuvisprik. Na samvarodvanyatama bhuvi sprik. Purim imam viravarena sakam. Purim imam viravarena sakam. Arhasya lankartamadhabra karmana. Arhasya lankartamadhabra karmana. Lokam parim shriva yagya pungsam. Lokam param shriva yagya pungsa. Na samvarorvan anyat. Na samvarorvan yatama bhuvi sprik. Purim imam viravarena sakam. Adhasya lankartamadhabra karmana. Lokam param shriva yagya pungsha. Na samvarorvanyatama bhuvi sprik. Purim imam viravarena sakam. Arhasya lankartamadhabra karmana. Lokang parang shriva yagya pungsa. Lokam param shriva yagya pumsa. Na samvarorvanyatama bhuvi sprik. Purim imam viravarena sakam. Arhasya lankartamadhabra karmana. Lokam param shriva yagya pungsam. Na, not some of these, Varoru, O most fortunate one, Anyatama, anyone, Bhuvi sprik, touching the ground, Purim, city, Imam, this, Veera Varena, the great hero, Sakam, along with Arhasi, you deserve Alankartam, to decorate Adhabra, glorious, Karmana, whose activities, Lokam, world, Param, transcendental, Shri, the goddess of fortune, Iva, like Yagyapungsa, with the enjoyer of all yagyas. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O greatly fortunate one, it appears that you are none of the women I have mentioned, because I see that your feet are touching the ground. But if you are some woman of this planet, you can, like the goddess of fortune, who accompanied by Lord Vishnu, increases the beauty of the Vaikuntha planets, and also increase the beauty. But if you are some woman of this planet, you can, like the goddess of fortune, who, accompanied by Lord Vishnu, increases the beauty of the Vaikuntha planets, also increase the beauty of this city by associating with me. You should understand that I am a great hero and a very powerful king on this planet. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There is a difference between demoniac mentality and devotional mentality. Devotees know perfectly well that the goddess of fortune, who is the constant companion of Vishnu or Narayan, cannot be enjoyed by a living entity. This higher sense of understanding is called Krishna consciousness. Nonetheless, everyone wants to become happy by imitating the prosperity of Narayan. In this verse, Puranjan states that the girl appears to be an ordinary woman. However, since he is attracted by her, he requests that she become as happy as the goddess of fortune by associating with him. A tough call for husbands. You'll have to become Lord Narayan. Thus he introduces himself as a great king with great influence so that she might accept him as her husband and be as happy as the goddess of fortune. To desire to enjoy this material world as a subordinate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is godly. The demons, however, want to enjoy this material world without considering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the difference between a demon and a demigod. The word bhuvi sprik mentioned in this verse is very significant. Anyone remember what bhuvi sprik means? You are all very grounded people. Touching the ground. That's what it means. The word bhuvi sprik mentioned in this verse is very significant. When the demigods sometimes come to this planet, they do not touch the ground. Puranjan could understand that this girl did not belong to the transcendental world or the higher planetary system because her feet were touching the ground. Since every woman in this world wants her husband to be very influential, rich and powerful, Puranjan, to seduce the girl, introduced himself as such a personality. In the material world, whether one be a man or a woman, one wants to enjoy. A man wants to enjoy a beautiful woman, and a woman wants to enjoy a powerful, opulent man. Every living entity who possesses such material desires is called Purusha, an enjoyer. Superficially, it appears that a woman is the enjoyed and the man is the enjoyer, but internally, everyone is an enjoyer. Consequently, everything in this material world is called Maya. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Translation again. O greatly fortunate one, it appears that you are none of the women I have mentioned, because I see that your feet are touching the ground. But if you are some woman of this planet, you can, like the goddess of fortune, who, accompanied by Lord Vishnu, increases the beauty of the Vaikuntha planets, also increase the beauty of this city by associating with me. You should understand that I am a great hero and a very powerful king on this planet. Just a little recap. This story, which is an allegory, is told by Narada Muni, this transcendental traveling preacher, to Maharaj Prachina Bharishat, whose sons we had heard about quite extensively in the preceding chapters. They were called the Prachetas, who were very fixed in a transcendental goal of achieving perfection. Not perfection on a mundane level, which is temporary, which then basically makes it imperfect, but achieving the transcendental perfection of realizing one's spiritual identity and being situated and acting in that identity. So while they were thus inclined and focused and meditating, Narada Muni has encountered their father, King Prachina Bharishat, who, unlike his sons, was pursuing material enjoyment, albeit through some regulated approaches of yajna and all other types of things that are mentioned and guided by in the Vedas. So, in order to explain to the king the futility of material life, the futility, the worthlessness of pursuing material enjoyment, he relates to him the story of King Puranjan, who, like I described earlier, it's an allegory. It's a story. It didn't really happen. Well, one could say it didn't really happen, but in a sense, it's happening all the time, right? It's happening all the time. We have been ourselves a King Puranjan. Maybe we are currently a King Puranjan of some sort. So this King Puranjan, in this allegory that Narada Muni is describing, King Puranjan is described to be the living entity, the Jivatma, who is accompanied constantly by a very dear friend, an old friend called Avigyata. Anybody can remember who Avigyata is? The Supersoul, Krishna, who's always accompanying the living entity. So this allegory is describing us, the living entity, who's always accompanied by the Supreme Lord in the form of the Paramatma, the Supersoul, and is encountering all sorts of experiences, trying to acquire so many types of things to enjoy. And he's living in a city, this Puri, the city that has 9 gates, and these 9 gates, or the city rather, is the body. The living entity is housed in the body, and the body, the city, has 9 gates, and these 9 gates refer to the 9 holes of the body, the 2 genitals and the senses, the eyes, the nostrils, the mouth, the ears, like that. And he comes across, as we read, a very beautiful woman who's guarded by how many? 10 servants, is it? 10 servants, each of whom have hundreds and hundreds of wives, lots of wives. These 10 servants are described to be the working senses and the knowledge acquiring senses. And the hundreds of wives for each of these servants that are accompanying this lady, whom Puranjan meets in the forest, these hundreds of wives are described, are likened to be the hundreds or the unlimited amounts of desires and agitations that each of these senses have. So many that are there. And the lady that he meets in the forest, it's described that she's also guarded by a 5-hooded serpent. And the 5-hooded serpent is actually the 5 pranas, the life airs that are holding the soul together and protecting it. So this is the basic description that Narada Muni is presenting to Maharaj Prachina Bharishat to help him understand the big picture, far beyond just his immediate urge to enjoy and gratify his senses. The essential desire of every living entity in this world is to, anybody can say, what is your basic innate desire? Is to enjoy. Who wants to live without enjoyment? Prabhupada was once asked to this end, what is the point of human life? And Prabhupada said the whole purpose of human life is to enjoy. Right? The problem is, we are enjoying in a temporary approach, in a temporary way. We are aspiring for experiences of enjoyment which always lead to some pain and suffering. So the tendency is there to enjoy. And Prabhupada says that a man is generally known as Purusha. I was thinking about this about a half an hour ago when I was reading this purport, that when you go, like in India, especially in North India where the language is primarily Indian, the bathrooms, the male and female bathrooms, the male bathrooms, in writing it's Purusha. So in a point, I was thinking about it, that if you try to live like a Purusha, your basic destination is a toilet. That's the bottom line of it all, right? That's the bottom line. But the Parama Purusha, the supreme enjoyer, is Krishna. But we are thinking that we are enjoyers. Although our purpose is to enjoy, the problem is, as is hinted here in the purport, the problem is we want to imitate the supreme enjoyer. The supreme enjoyer, who is Narayan. We want to imitate him by trying to enjoy the energy of Narayan, and that is Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. This is the problem. Although we are meant to enjoy, we are trying to enjoy something that's not within our reach. That's not within our domain. That's not within our deservedness even. Well, it'll never be. And Srila Prabhupada says that this is the difference between the demoniac mentality and the devotional mentality. That the demoniac mentality, it's a mentality, it's not that you are a demon. That sometimes you may have this mentality and sometimes you may not have. Even in the space of 5 minutes, you can have both. It happens to all of us. Sometimes we try to enjoy the material energy, the goddess of fortune, in a different form. The material energy is the goddess of fortune in her material form, in this material world rather. We have that tendency, and that is demoniac. Whereas the devotional energy, the devotional mentality doesn't have any desire to enjoy the goddess of fortune. Rather wants to serve the goddess of fortune by connecting that energy with its master, Krishna or Narayan. And this is best exemplified in our spiritual history by the devotee Hanuman, right? And the great demon king Ravana. That Ravana, his whole mission towards the end of his existence, well, especially towards the end of his existence, but actually throughout his life, was to try and enjoy the goddess of fortune without Narayan. To enjoy Sita separate from Narayan. And his eventual destination was death at the hands of Lord Ram. But Hanuman wanted to serve Sita Devi, not enjoy her, by reuniting her with Lord Ramachandra. So this is the essential difference between the demoniac mentality and the devotional mentality. So we have to be cautious that sometimes the demoniac mentality enters, right? We have so many allurements from the 10 servants that we have, that our Puranjan has. Right? So many allurements, so many agitations. You just open your eye in the morning, and what's the most immediate allurement that practically all of us have? The what? Come on. The cell phone. Yeah. And I mean, I did it also this morning and 7 minutes got wasted. But anyway, because it's important, right? There's so many agitations out there, and we can validate it all by giving it importance. And we are expert. Over time, we become very expert at validating all our forms of Maya. Very expert. But when you really break it down with intelligence, not just our intelligence, but higher intelligence, the spiritual authorities, the scripture especially, our tradition, then we can see how we are being afflicted, how our 10 senses are being afflicted by so many desires. But if we can distill all these desires that are there facing us, these hundreds and hundreds of wives for each of our senses, if we can distill it all to one desire, to please Krishna, to connect the goddess of fortune, the energy of Krishna with Krishna, then that's where we will experience happiness and enjoyment. That is the difference, again, between the demoniac mentality and the devotional mentality. Sometimes in spiritual life we have a sense of constant negation. That if you are feeling happy, I don't know if you've ever come across this, or even yourself, if you are exhibiting happiness or enjoyment, even in the context of spiritual life, you may berate yourself, no, I'm not meant to enjoy. This is not what spiritual life is about. And unfortunately, that holds true for some spiritual disciplines, that it's all full with hardship and austerity even to the extent of literally harming your body, physically harming your body, because happiness is not the goal of spiritual life. That is what's being taught, unfortunately. But we understand that in Krishna consciousness, simply that word Krishna consciousness, Krishna is the ultimate reservoir of happiness. Another name of Krishna is, that we chant in the Mahamantra, is Ram, the unlimited reservoir of all pleasure, of all happiness. So to be conscious of Krishna, Lord Ram, Ramachandra, Radha Raman, is to be conscious of happiness. Not just to see happiness, but to be conscious of it. When you are conscious of something, it really means you are experiencing it. That's what it means to be conscious. You are actually in it. You are experiencing it. Knowing something, I'm knowing what's on this book. The book is in front of me, but I am here. But if I'm conscious of what's in the book, the knowledge that's in the book is in me. You understand that difference? So to be Krishna conscious really means to be happy. Because Krishna is the embodiment, is the source of all happiness. So real spiritual life means to be happy. We cannot settle for a life of negation, a life of just self-admonishment whenever some happiness comes. And nor should anyone ever make us feel like that. Oh, Prabhu, you in Maya, you look happy today. No. Or we're scared to show, sometimes it happens, you're scared to show happiness. Right? You're scared to show happiness to others. You rather look morose and intense. You even can practice in the mirror how to chant, let me frown my face, let me not smile or anything. No. Krishna wants to see us happy. Like Srila Prabhupada he would be asked many times, Srila Prabhupada, how can I please you? What really makes you happy? And Prabhupada gave different answers. I mean, not really different, but similar, but different presentations, different aspects. But one time in particular when Prabhupada was asked, and the devotees thought Prabhupada might say in answer to what makes you happy, what pleases you the most, the question was, what pleases you the most, Prabhupada? They naturally thought that Prabhupada would say, if you distribute my books. Because we know that if there was one service that Prabhupada was most eager to hear about, it was book distribution. That was like a sure way to attract Prabhupada's attention, was to distribute Prabhupada's books. But in this instance, when he was asked, Srila Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? Srila Prabhupada answers, if you are happy. That's what Prabhupada wanted. That's what Krishna wants from us. He wants us to be happy. And happy means to enjoy. We enjoy in Krishna consciousness. That's the only way to enjoy. As we learn in the next 3 chapters, there's 4 chapters in this allegory that Narada Muni presents. We'll learn how King Puranjan really tried with his almost unlimited capacity to enjoy, but he was simply frustrated. At every step he was frustrated. And even in his next life he tried again, but only achieved frustration. So the only way again and again we can be happy, and we're going through this lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. But for some reason, who knows what it is, I don't know, we come in touch with something very tangible and sublime that's helping us understand that you've been traversing through so many lifetimes, unlimited amount of lifetimes, trying to enjoy separately from Narayan, and you've never been peaceful. You've never been happy. The problem is that we've got so many unlimited desires and agitations that are attracting all our senses, and the mind is weak and is just simply following the dictates of these senses. Not only do we have it, but everyone else has the same affliction, right? And the foundation of everyone's happiness is an emotion or is an existence called what? Anybody knows? Is peace, right? You can't be happy without a foundation of peace, correct? Otherwise, if there's no peacefulness, you're always going to be in anxiety that your happiness is going to end. Like people who have a lot of money, are they truly happy? Why? Because they're not peaceful. Because they're always thinking that someone's going to come and take my money away. Or someone who's not happy with the way they look, and they want to gain some more body muscle or less wrinkles on their skin. So they get it all done, they practice for so long, go to the gym for so long, and they get a nice looking body, a nice looking face, a facelift. But they're also not peaceful because they know it's temporary, it's going to get taken away. Right? So peacefulness is the foundation of happiness. And what does Krishna teach us about peace? How to attain peace in Bhagavad Gita? Anybody remember? At the end of chapter 5, he says, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam. That we have to see that Krishna is the beneficiary and enjoyer of all sacrifices, all austerities. He is the owner, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He is the possessor, the controller of, the Lord of all the planets, of all existence. If all of us have the same understanding, we have all channeled our unlimited agitations and desire to this, to see Krishna in this way, that He is the ultimate enjoyer, then only will we reach the platform of peace, from which to then build true happiness and true enjoyment. But because everyone, including ourselves, is seeing it differently, naturally each of our unlimited desires and agitations will do what with each other? It'll clash. It'll agitate each other. That my desire to enjoy in this way is conflicting with your desire to enjoy in another way. And therefore there is conflict. It happens on an individual level. It happens in a social level, in groups of friends that are agitated by other groups of friends. It happens on the basis of communities, of races, of languages, of different educational backgrounds. This is all the basis of why there's conflicts in this world. This is the bottom line basis. Because people are not peaceful with one proper understanding. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. And as long as we, living entities, do not come to this realization, there will never be a peaceful situation. We will be agitated, individually and collectively. And then for devotees, we also have to understand, because this sometimes comes in the way, right, of our engagements with each other in our service to Krishna. That as soon as you take away Krishna from the center and put your ego, your false identification in the center, then your foundation of peace goes away. You are no longer seeing Krishna as the supreme enjoyer of all austerities, of all penances, of all yagyas. We are thinking that we should be the enjoyers. That's what's at stake here. Here Puranjan, we find he's very expert. He's very expert at trying to attract this girl in the forest. Here Prabhupada says that in the material world, whether one be a man or woman, one wants to enjoy. A man wants to enjoy a beautiful woman, and a woman wants to enjoy a powerful, opulent man. So we find, even when we, in this material world, that we want something to enjoy, but in order to attract that form of enjoyment, we have to recreate ourselves to attract that form of enjoyment. So Puranjan knows that what attracts this girl is that if he can present himself as a powerful, opulent man, so then he gives a whole spiel about how he's this, how he's that, simply to attract her. And the girl knows that to attract an opulent, powerful man, she has to look very presentable. So she presents herself in that way. But all these presentations are temporary. They all fall away with time. All fall away. Power, position, opulence, beauty, they all fall away. And we see that all around us. Like that story Srila Prabhupada tells. What's that title? Liquid Beauty. Anybody remembered Liquid Beauty? Maybe not a nice story to tell before breakfast time, but it's a very good story to catch us that how all our attempts to attract enjoyment, just literally, it melts away. It melts away. There was this man who noticed a beautiful girl sitting on her veranda or balcony, and he became very attracted to her, and he wanted to associate with her. And he went to her, made a proposition, but she, being very intelligent, thought, let me instruct this man in a very powerful way. She said, no, you please come after a certain period of time, whether it was a week or two. And during that time, this beautiful young girl, she took many laxatives and purgatives and really drained her of all her lustre, all her beauty. And then on the appointed period of time later, this man came very nicely dressed and haircut and flowers in his hand. Right now, we're going to enjoy. And then this kind of very frail, pale, shriveled up lady opened the door, and he looked, am I at the right address? Yes, I am. Said, where is so-and-so? Oh, no, I am that person, the girl tells. Said, what do you mean? 2 weeks ago you were... No, this is what I am. No, you can't be. No. Then the lady invited him in and said, what you were attracted to was my beauty. And I thought, instead of making anything difficult for you. I'll just extract my beauty and give it to you so you can enjoy. So she pointed to a few buckets of grotesque substances, everything that was purged out of her body. There's the essence of my beauty. Take it and enjoy it. Take it and so that's what it boils down to. Yet the world so much revolves around power, prestige, opulence, and beauty that the greatest industries are focused on this, making billions and billions of dollars every day just on these industries. But devotees, we need to be the sort of dike. In Netherlands they have this, because it's under sea level, they have these amazing civil engineering types of feats of holding back the water. They call dikes. We have to be the dikes that hold back the materialistic onslaught, that hold back this onslaught of this tendency, this constant onslaught against the understanding of who is the enjoyer and what is our role. We are enjoyers, no doubt. All of us are called Purushas, but there's one supreme enjoyer. And our level of enjoyment is simply to serve that supreme enjoyer, even rather be enjoyed by that supreme enjoyer. And that's where our enjoyment is experienced. This is the main point. Okay, we'll stop here. Are there any comments or questions anyone has? All right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.